Hi, guys. We're back again. He's Tommy.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Artieka.
Hey, Artieka.
And this is Married at First Sight, Season 11, Episode 13. And it is titled Home Alone.
Yeah. This was the coronavirus edition.
This is the stay at home, shelter in place.
Yeah.
So, let's start out. I'm just going to go in the order that I have them. I'm not going to try to fancy it up this time.
All right.
Woody and Amani. So we open with Woody snoring and Amani laying there looking at him, not believing that he's snoring so loudly. I felt that in my soul. Nobody else feels you. I feel you. She did decide in this episode to finally tell Woody that she is in love with him. Or she loves him. I don't know that we use the word in love.
I think she just said she loves him.
So she has a little sign that they decorate, I guess, randomly with what they're having for dinner or whatever. So she wrote on that sign, "Loving you makes sense." And she wanted to tell him that she loved him with all 5 senses. So she bought him 5 gifts, each one representing a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was really cute and corny.
Yeah.
But you have to be cute and corny in marriage. So,
sometimes
it worked. We fast forward to 2 weeks later, and apparently there is an argument that happened, and it is about his DMs.
Yeah. She just asked about him. It was started off as a joke or something like that. Yeah, right?
She just basically said, I bet there's a lot of hoes in your DMs. And he didn't take that very well.
Nah, he didn't. He didn't.
I don't know how deep into the argument that they got, but one thing that I noticed and I mentioned to you while we were watching was Amani said something. She walked out of the room and then she went back in the room and stood at the door like, I dare you to say something. I think we've all been there in an argument.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a spouse argument or anything like that, but just somebody tries you.
No, she meant that.
That's what I'm saying. They try you and you go back oh, so this what you doing? So she was there. Apparently that argument didn't last very long. And the next time that we see the couple, we see Amani sitting down with Dr. Pepper. This is Dr. Pepper's first time on the show this season? No, this season.
Nah. Dr. Pepper been on the show
No.
I'm saying
when?
During this season. She was, I don't know which episode, but she's been on it before.
I can't remember.
Have she this was the first time that she...
Oh, yeah, because she was there when they went to visit the homes before they got matched.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she this first time she had a session with them.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I meant, but not what I said.
Yeah.
So one of the highlights that Amani mentioned to Dr. Pepper was that she thought it would be awkward for them to be strangers or be married at first sight. And it hasn't been strange. She did mention the argument about his DMs and that she was worried about children because Woody is being very impulsive. In my opinion, she didn't use the words impulsive. Yeah. I am. Saying that he wants a Scorpio baby and he's ready to have kids now. And I'm like, y'all don't know each other.
Yeah, I think he's being impulsive with that. It's just a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You want to have kids and the way he's looking at it is, I'm married. I was ready to have kids with my last relationship. Now that I'm married, I'm definitely ready to have kids. Mm-hmm. And that's the way he's looking at it. But because he sees that they're not going through issues like the other couples, or, it's not an issue of, do I love you or do I want...
He feels like it's perfect, perfect conditions.
Like, no, buddy, you let that thing marinate for a minute.
If you like taking naps, don't have kids.
Man, let that thing marinate for a minute before you just jump in with kids. Because kids, I ain't gonna say they make it worse, but they do. They definitely make
change
it
your
different.
relationship dynamic a lot. And it's not that they are doing anything. It's just their pure existence changes the dynamic a lot.
Right.
What you got?
No, I was finna start talking about like Woody's shirt. That was the day.
Woody had on a blouse.
I don't know what was going on.
That was a blouse,
and
he kept. It was like it wiggled down here.
That shirt was too big. That's what it was.
It was a blouse.
That shirt was way too big.
That was a woman's blouse, and he was like, "I'm gonna kill her with this."
That was Amani's daddy's shirt.
Her daddy that can't enunciate.
Hey, you gonna kill him with these? What did he say? I'm still trying to figure out what he said,
Don't
man.
Remember?
Let me see. What else was it about? The privacy thing. That's what he felt because he was telling Pastor Calvin that he felt like it was a privacy thing when she asked to see his DMs.
And I wouldn't think anything of that. I mean, obviously we got married in the traditional way.
Right.
But if I wanted to go, and I've never tried to look in your DMs. Yeah. I don't even know if
you'll be highly disappointed.
I wouldn't be disappointed because I wouldn't expect anything to be there. That's what I'm saying.
There's nothing juicy there.
So it's like if I wanted to, I could. Yeah. And if you wanted to, you could. And there's nothing there. Like DMs for me, it's like I send you messages because I send you stuff like on Instagram. Like, did you see this?
Right.
So it's like, I'm showing you the other side of the conversation.
Right. I just feel like, when it comes to people asking to see that stuff, man, those are trusting things and you shouldn't have to blatantly ask, I feel. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because that's what makes it awkward,
Mm-hmm.
So, all I can say on that one, man, this is just my bit of advice, for anybody that's listening. Don't ask to see somebody's DM. Just be trustworthy enough for your partner to know that nothing is going on.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? That'd keep you out of a lot of trouble. So
most trouble. You got anything else for them?
Nah.
You sure?
I just wanted to know when was decision day because I felt like today was everybody's.
No, they always do that awkward, like middle of the road.
It was that awkward middle of the road.
Yeah, that was what this. It just should have happened. It should have been this episode.
But they were like deep into like they've had more time than the 8 weeks
because of COVID.
I understand that, but like you really can tell how quarantine can mess up some people.
Quarantine has really defeated some relationships.
But no, that's all I had for them.
All right. Well, if it's nothing else for them, let's move to Amelia and Bennett. So Amelia cut her hair. They say if a woman cuts her hair, she's ready to change her life. I guess that's what she's doing. That's what has been said. I cut my hair a lot and I ain't trying to change too much of my life. So, whatever. She went and took Bennett past where she grew up, her first crib.
That was in this episode?
Yes,
yeah, it was.
It was at the beginning of the episode. And then she also mentioned something that was very disgusting to me. Was that Bennett only uses one square to wipe.
How?
I don't want to know how. Like, maybe that's why he don't have no socks.
That's possibly why. But I'm going to move this conversation right along. Bennett is truly a good guy, man.
He is.
The things that she described that he would do because she would go out to volunteer at the homeless shelter. Mm-hmm. He would ask her, how was your day? And, fix meals and stuff like that. He's like really falling into what role she wants him as her dad did. You know what I'm saying? So
she wants Bennett to be the homemaker.
Right.
And she go out and make the big bucks.
Right.
And I mean, if that's their relationship and it's going to work and it looks like it will work.
Right. That's fine.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like, I think that Bennett is going to be a fun person to be a dad, to watch become a dad. And like, I just think he's gonna have to let go of some of his like thoughts about how it should happen. But that's not something that we can't pass in life. She got matched. Amelia got matched.
Yep.
Which match day, I think I said it on the last episode, was like March 25th or something like that. So like we got like 3 weeks past that in the span of this episode. But she got matched and she is moving to Richmond, Virginia. I did do a Google search to see what hospital in Richmond. I don't remember which one. But in the process of me finding out about her residency and her fun facts on her NPI number said, Amelia's not married at first sight. I was like, well, that's cool that like where she's working is embracing that side of things as well. So Amelia sat down with Dr. Pepper and she pointed out, like you were just saying, her high point is volunteering at the homeless shelter and how he stops and checks in on her after she's back at home. She said that her like went to love and she is ready to have some babies in the next 2 years. And she's just trying to figure out how to navigate that with him because he said more like 5.
Yeah.
They also said that having to create a resolution was hard about moving to Richmond, which we do later find out that they were able to resolve that in this episode. And she says that one of the good things is that one of the things Dr. Pepper mentioned that they need to also do is speak your mind about what's important to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got anything about her and Dr. Pepper?
Nah, I don't.
Then he sits down with Pastor Cal and said, what's been the most difficult conversation? Of course, we take it back over to children. He says he needs to choose a financially viable career to have children.
Basically, all Bennett said right there is, I need to be making some money to have some children. And right now ain't the time.
Yeah. And also, like Pastor Cal said to him, like, he's just kind of winging it.
Yeah, as a single man.
Yeah, because like he's painting houses. He's doing landscaping. He has his theater job. He's doing something like Uber. But not Uber, like it's a non-motorized.
It's like on a bike.
Mm-hmm. He's just doing a lot of odd jobs. And I'm wondering how that has impacted him. I know landscaping didn't stop because of COVID, but some of the other things that he was doing may have like stopped or at least slowed down during that. He told Pastor Cal that he's been flying by the seat of his pants. And then we go back to the scene of the two of them sitting down together, and they did agree to reach a compromise on babies. And Bennett has agreed to split his time between New Orleans and Richmond.
Man, that's an expensive splitting of time.
Yes, considering doctors are not getting their full pay during a residency.
And considering he not having a great financial backing.
But flights were cheap because of COVID, because you had to run the risk of catching COVID.
So have they currently they have moved to Richmond, I would assume.
She's in Richmond.
Yeah.
Because like you have, I think like 4 to 6 weeks after match day to move. So I'm sure she's there and she has her place. I'm just wondering how often he's going.
Yeah. I'm curious
because New Orleans was also a hot spot, so I'm sure it was a lot more difficult to come and go, even if they wanted to in the midst of this pandemic.
Right.
You got anything else for the two of them? Okay. So Christina and Henry are up next. Henry has been working from home, and not their home together, but his home.
It's kind of like he's just been going to work, but just going to his house.
Yeah, like he gets up and he leaves every day.
Yeah.
She also mentioned that he was like going to the grocery store twice a day. And I'm like, who has time?
He's just trying to get out the house, man.
I see it. Like Henry is like grandfatherly to me. And like or maybe at least how my granddad was, how he just needed to keep moving and do random things. And you're like that too. Like you have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like him being stuck in the house is not working for him. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna just go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
We
it takes a long way home.
He did. We mentioned, or he mentioned in the beginning that Christina forgot his birthday. Like his friends went all out, or as all out as you could go.
Yeah, somebody sent him a
in
cake.
the midst of a pandemic. And Christina didn't even bother to do
wish him
anything.
a happy birthday.
Like nothing.
Like that's crazy. I don't understand how you don't like the one day out of the year that's mine. How don't you say
happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're really trying to be in this and do something.
Even if you're not.
That's the simple thing.
Like even if you're not.
Right.
If you know that today is my birthday and you don't hate me.
Right.
Just say happy birthday.
Just do something.
Like leave the house and go get me something.
Right.
Like it doesn't have to be a large gesture, but like a card,
gesture.
A card.
A gesture
a bottle
would be
of
nice.
wine. We know he likes to drink wine. Something. Just like make him feel like he's special.
Yeah.
Christina, the day after his birthday, went out for a walk. And did not come back. The cameras picked up that she was back at 3 a.m. because they're consistently recording. He said he went to bed at 1 and she still wasn't back. So
that bothered him because he was like, she wasn't dressed to be to go for a walk.
Absolutely not. Because if I was going for a walk, and I have done this in the midst of the pandemic, if I was going for a walk, I would have on like workout gear. Athleisure type wear. Like I wouldn't have on jeans or anything. And she put on a dress and like some sandals and had her purse. Like if I was going for none of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they sit down with the experts. Christina with Dr. Pepper says she feels like he always finds a way to leave the house. He goes to the grocery store and doesn't get her flowers or anything because you didn't get him a birthday gift.
Yeah, and Dr. Pepper asked a question that I thought was very important. She asked, who is it? Is it him or is it her that is causing the issue? Pretty much she was like, she doesn't feel like he wants to be in the relationship. And
she didn't answer the question.
And she didn't answer that question, but she was she said both, I believe. But Dr. Pepper asking that question made you kind of think about like, yeah, like you're like your whole issue has been that he's not trying, but you know what type of person he is.
And then Dr. Pepper also asked her, have you opened up to him?
Yeah.
And she gave a long roundabout answer that equaled no.
Yeah. But on the flip side, when he was talking to Pastor Calvin, he was more so of, she's lying.
He said, differences are glaring and there's a pattern of dishonesty. I love his word choice.
Right.
He said that one of the things that I've seen on other people's reviews, and I don't know if we said it on ours or not, but she didn't have anywhere to live.
Yeah, we said that. Like, no, she didn't have anywhere. Like, she basically was living out of her car.
Like, we glazed over it on the first one. We were like, maybe we just missed her house. And then it's like, we kept going back and thinking about it. Like, no, we just did not see her have anywhere to live. And I know that she said when they did the flashback, most of her things were still in California. She just only has the things in her car. And she was in the central business district. But then he's like, she was in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
But
I was at that point, I was just like, man, he's naming a lot of not syllables, but just letters. Like, what is the CBD? Oh, and then they went back to it.
The central business district.
Man, that girl didn't have nowhere to live.
She didn't have anywhere to live, and this was an opportunity, possibly since she was a flight attendant, to be based out of a new city.
Yeah.
And it was something that could happen in the process of her being based out of a new city. But as far as flight attendants go, I know that you can like live in another state and your home airport be somewhere else. You just have to fly back to your home airport and then fly home. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And she probably didn't really know where her home airport is going to be. But she had that relationship that ended. And I wonder what happened. Like, did he just put her stuff out? Either way. We go back to the two of them sitting down together to reconcile the conversations that they had with the experts. And I thought Henry was going to ease into it.
No, man. He's like, I'm finna bust this thing wide open.
He came in with guns blazing. It was just like you're lying about your living situation. And she ends up deflecting by crying.
Yeah. Henry was sitting there like, don't start crying.
Like, nobody wants to see this.
Don't do this.
And then we end the episode with Christina saying a reliable source. And I absolutely hate this reliable source situation. But a reliable source says that Henry is gay and he's been having sex with Henry.
And that's why Henry hadn't opened up to her. But Pastor Calvin said something while he was talking to Henry. He was like, you don't have it. Like, Henry was like, I don't communicate well. And Pastor Calvin was like, no, you do communicate. You just told me clearly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The communication problem comes with Christina. Then they got into the lying part. The thing that stood out the most to me was she left at 2 p.m. So 2 in the afternoon, she left to go take a walk. And didn't come home, didn't say anything.
He texted her, he called her, and she would not respond. He said she actually read his message
and ignored it. So like that would have been a cause of an argument, because no, you're not finna ignore me. It's COVID going on, and we had to stay at home.
And you're not staying at home.
And you're not staying at home. Here it is. You know, I'm sitting here playing the guitar at 1 o'clock in the morning, waiting on you to come home. Like, what type of stuff is that? So, the fact that she, like, it seemed to me when they were talking to each other that she quit. Like, she was like, no, thank you. I was like, and I had to laugh because I was like, he didn't offer anything. But she was like, no, thank you. And to me, that's saying that I'm done with trying to figure this out. And Henry was just like, all right. But we come to find out next week, she's still in it. So I don't know how they reconciled that.
She contractually obligated.
Because I don't see how you come back from, like, you call me gay, that's pretty much it.
I mean, and
after the issues that we're having and you called me gay, after the conversation we had, like, yeah, we don't have nothing else to talk about. Yeah, now you're talking about me.
She's a terrible liar.
Awful.
You got anything else for her?
No, that's it.
I think I just write her off in disgust every week.
Yeah.
Next up, someone else that I write off every week, Miles and Karen.
Man, I get beat up every week because I try to give Karen the benefit of the doubt, man.
When we get to the comments, like, usually I like wait until like the two of us can sit down and have a conversation about the comments to start reading them. And it's like, Karen, pew, Karen, pew, Karen, pew. That's all we get is a whole lot of like Karen and gunshots.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's cool. I feel the same way as most of you guys. I want her to be better and do better, but she's having a hard time. And we see that she's still having a very hard time as recently as April.
Yeah. This quarantine has really done a number on this couple. I think this couple, along with the, this couple that has the best chance of sticking together, but they have to work on some things, are having a very, very tough time during this quarantine.
Absolutely. So I wrote in my notes that Karen is still going to work and Miles has become a house husband. I know that Miles was a administrator in a school, so he wasn't actively in the classroom, it doesn't look like. So for him, when classes went to distance learning or virtual learning, he doesn't have as much to do. He has to still support his staff, but he's not like day-to-day interactions with people. He did mention that he does not feel wanted by Karen. Like, that was one of his confessional scenes. And when Karen sat down to talk to Dr. Pepper, they talked about how quarantine has affected their relationship. She says that he's still doing small things for her. And Dr. Pepper got right to it and said, Karen, you're all about your own needs. Like, you have not mentioned anything that you are doing for him at all. Yeah. Everything has been about what he has done for you. And I don't think that Karen wanted to hear that or feel that. Because, like, I think that's when she didn't cry, but like her mistiness started.
Yeah, she wanted to cry. She was trying to get the cry up there.
It just wasn't happening because she knew she was being wrong. She did say that she feels that Miles has a very feminine energy, and she brought up about him calling her sis. I don't like it when women do that, so I wouldn't necessarily take it from men doing that, but I think that that's something that you can just articulate and just be like, could you please stop?
Yeah. I mean, that ain't something I would do. I wouldn't call you sis like that, but I call you Sister Townsend because you call me Bro T.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I get that from your grandma.
Right. But
I think our sister and brother, like Bro T and Sister T, are like, more so from the church reference.
Right. He was more so like a female call another female B, like they like truly friends. B, you know what I'm saying? But like, I wouldn't use that, but you know, that's a simple, hey, like, nah, man, don't call me that. Don't
the only guys that call me
wife.
The only guys that call me sis, and not sus, but sis, are my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And they both call me sister. So,
but
full word.
One thing that Karen said that I was in total agreement with, and I've been saying this, is that Miles is putting on that person for her, which I think Dr. Pepper said something about it. It was like, well, he's putting that person on because that's all he has.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not giving him the space to basically, and I'm paraphrasing, like always, because I don't know what people say. You're not giving him enough to feel comfortable. I assume is what she was saying to her. Feel comfortable enough to show his true self.
I put that she feels he has resentment because he has had to suppress his feelings. That was Karen saying that, not Dr. Pepper, though.
And,
I mean, like, I completely agree with that. Like, Dr. Pepper's right. Like, she's not giving him room to be himself or to get to know, because she shuts everything down.
Right.
The mistiness came though in that conversation when she told Dr. Pepper that he told her if decision day was today, he would be done.
Right. And like, you damn right.
Thank you for saying that, Miles.
Yes, Miles. Yes.
Like, she has treated you. Of course, we don't get to see it all, but from the edits that we see is what Karen's giving, and it's not much at all.
She has treated you like trash.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had to work that harder to be in this relationship, to see this whole thing all the way through, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
You know, relationships are easy. Being with another person is the easy part. Everything else around it is what makes it difficult.
Yeah.
You know, his expectation of the quarantine was completely different from what reality showed.
They were going to spend time together.
Yeah, that was the big thing. They were supposed to spend time together, become closer to each other, learn more about each other and stuff like that. But that was not the case. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people, man, the quarantine made it where people were forced to be around each other and forced like for a longer period of time than they really would have.
It's kind of like when people become empty nesters and then they get divorced.
Yeah. Because
they have not ever had to be around each other without all the other noise.
Yeah.
Like, they've had the distraction of the kids and work and this and that. But like, once they get to like you're not going to work every day, the kids aren't at home, I can't busy myself with grandkids because maybe they don't live here. All that stuff eliminates. And it's like, I don't even really like you.
Right.
they're going through that without having to have gone through the motions of the years of being together, which is sad. And I do think that they could like use the things that they do have in common to build more of a relationship and a better foundation. But again, she's not giving anything.
Right. Another thing it was he told her he doesn't feel cared for. Mm-hmm. And what that said to me was he wasn't allowed to, basically she didn't care, like she wasn't reciprocating the actions that he felt he needed from her. But I always feel like Karen is taking a stab at his masculinity. She is always taking stabs at his masculinity. It's like it's always happening, but it's like this man can't have feelings.
Right.
And I think that's totally unfair to him because, as he called it, she's not ready for this progressive person.
Right.
You know, where men have always been told, or it has always been believed that men don't have feelings, but we do. Mm-hmm. You know, and for someone to feel comfortable expressing their feelings to you in such a small amount of time, you should be honored and you should care for that person because that's a lot.
I think if you look at though, like her familial dynamic, her dad was able to remove himself from her wedding because he just didn't want to do it because it was on TV.
Oh.
And if your parent can do that to you, why wouldn't you do that to your spouse? Because your parents, and this is just my opinion, have more unconditional love for you than you do for your spouse.
Yeah.
Because your parents are literally like, no matter what, you can't divorce your parents. You can divorce a husband or a wife, but like your kid is your kid is your kid, like forever. And the fact that he's like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
She's used to men being able to withhold things, and that appears masculine to her. Mm-hmm. Like, I can withhold my love. And she's like, well, I'm going to withhold my love because you're not doing what I want you to do, whatever that may be.
I still think her last relationship has traumatized her home relationships, and now she's in the house with this guy.
Her husband, this guy.
Her husband, I'm sorry. She's in the house with her husband, and he's at home. Mm-hmm. Like extremely bored. And
because he sat down and played video games, and like all that changed was what he had on.
Yeah.
It was no shirt, shorts, sweatpants.
Do yoga. Look out the window. Sit back down. Watch a movie. Fall asleep. Play the game. All that stuff. But, you know, you're sitting in this house and you can tell he's bored because he's like, yeah, I cooked dinner. I fixed the lunch. I washed clothes. I washed the tub so she can come in and get a bubble bath.
But there's only so much stuff you can do.
Like, I felt like he did all that in 1 week. Yeah. And they've been locked up in like 4 or 5 weeks now.
It's rough.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got him at home all day and stuff, and he obviously is running out of stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And for you to come home and the first thing you do is not talk to him or not, you know, be close to him or anything like that, man. Yeah, man's going to go crazy.
A person is going to go crazy. Like being stuck in the house is driving me crazy. And we're not stuck in the house. Like they're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Like they're in the beginning of, we don't know, like, how does this thing spread? What's going on?
Yeah.
They're in that phase of it. And it's just, it's weird. And it's something that you have to get past. And she's still going out and going to work every day. So you don't even know what she's coming in contact with because she's in a medical setting.
Right.
But, to go back to his conversation with Pastor Cal said that Karen needs to go outside of her box of emotions. After they sat down together to talk about what they discussed with both of the experts, a question was posed. What do you feel you have the capacity to give? Miles asked Karen that. And she couldn't answer the question, but she did mention that she knows that he likes physical touch. And so she asked, how Like, what is enough for you to feel like you're getting the touch that you need? Like, she was like, is it a hand on the shoulder? Do you need a cuddle? And it's like, you should have asked that question like 6 weeks ago.
Right. You should know the answer to that. Just try harder. That's essentially is all he's asking her to do is try.
I don't even think
harder.
It's a try hard. Try.
Yeah. Just be here. Be here with me.
Right.
Get to know me. Let's do this together. Not let me be alone in this. Because it's hard enough. But then here it is. I'm by myself and you're not helping.
Right.
Makes it extremely hard. So.
You got anything else?
No, that's it for them.
All right. So last couple up is Olivia and Brett. Olivia, of course, being a nurse practitioner, is still going to work. Brett said that someone from his job actually tested positive for COVID. So they are not in the office and he's just kicking it.
Yeah.
He's been making a lot of quesadillas.
He has.
I'm kind of like, well, Brett, throw me a quesadilla. He said he's watched a lot of movies and they're trying to figure out at this point how they can merge their lives. Brett mentioned that he offered for Olivia to come to his place to figure out how she can fit her things into his place, because you don't necessarily want to get rid of everything of one person or another's, but you do have to figure out how you're going to merge your life. And I mean, as someone who did not move out of my parents' home and with my husband, I had a place, he had a place. We had to merge things. Like I had things that sat in storage for a year? Yeah. Because your house was already furnished. And so we like partially. Yeah. It was enough. And then we had some of my things that just moved into the house. Like we ended up with a couch and a futon, and we couldn't have 2 beds in a 1 bedroom. So we put a bed in storage. So it was just, making those adjustments. There is a scene apparently, and I don't think we heard the conversation as it was happening in real time, but Olivia left to go check on her parents. Yeah. And Brett did not like that, and he left.
Well, Brett's whole thing was he already was scared about the coronavirus and everything like that, and he just didn't feel like it would be safe for her to go to her parents' house to, and stuff like that. And he wasn't comfortable with it. Brett was like, it's 8 weeks. We will be moving out at this time anyway. I'm going back home. I'm gonna go home. I bought my house.
I bought my house. I'm going to my house that I bought. And I agree with him in that same regard, because we're looking at it progress. What are we? 5 months post where they are right now, like in life. I'm still not okay with just like, let's just go home all willy-nilly to see parents. We've seen your mom, but we haven't been to her house. Right. And we haven't seen my mom outside of video chat since February. But when you look at those things that are occurring and you have these like, we had so much unknown about COVID at that time. Yeah. And she's also in the medical field. So he's like looking at it like you could potentially bring this back home at any time. Yeah. On top of you being able to bring this home at any time, you're now going to go out and be around other people who you don't know if they have it or not. And you're going to bring that back home to me. Let me go ahead and cut my losses, and I'm going to just go home because I can control that environment. I can't control this environment because you're living life as what he felt was recklessly. Yeah. I thought it was funny, though, that he used the cats when he was talking to Pastor Cal as the reason, because he said that he has the 2 cats, or does she?
She got 2 cats and he got 1.
Okay, so one of her cats was beating up his cat and he didn't like it.
I didn't know cats got into fights like that.
They do. Not like puppies, but they do get into fights. So we go to Olivia sitting down with Dr. Pepper, and Olivia says she sees no growth and that he doesn't know how to communicate. And Dr. Pepper asks Olivia, well, what did you do to contribute to that?
Mm-hmm.
She did not have anything in that moment that I felt like
most of the time she
answer.
didn't have anything for like it's most of the time she's looking at it from Brett. Brett's not doing this. Brett's not doing that. Brett's not. Even
Brett's
though
picking on me.
We all agree that Brett was a hole.
He's
her.
A jerk.
But
but she's a jerk too.
Yeah, like everything wasn't his fault.
I think that like there were things about Brett, which is interesting because they flash back to their wedding and he was like, this is a perfect match. And then
he's like, nah.
3 days later, he was like, about that.
I don't really want to do this.
Like on the honeymoon, like was when they had their first issue. But Olivia looks at Brett as if he is the issue. And she has quirks about her as well. Like there's a lot of things about Brett to you know, be like, you stay over there. But there's a lot of things about him that can be considered good qualities. And she just didn't want to budge on any of her things to fit in with his things. Brett sits down and talks to Pastor Cal and says he and the cats moved home and he told her that he was moving back home with the cats. And she said that he didn't tell her that. Like he said, like he was going to his house, not like he was moving to his house.
He was like, no, we had this conversation.
So I'm wondering how that conversation went, because I can't imagine that it was a very calm conversation that could leave things that up in the air.
I mean, it was a conversation that they had that was like, hey, I'm out.
True. He says that he felt that there wasn't enough compromise and that he has lost his desires for her. By the fifth week, they seem to have friend zoned each other. When Pastor Cal asked him about what future he saw with the two of them, he said, and I'd put direct quote, I'm committed, but to the fact that we aren't the best options for each other. Pastor Cal, of course, suggested that they need to exhaust every option possible and they need to have a sit down together. And then, of course, Pastor Cal and him brought up the wanting to have kids situation, which is a deal breaker for Brett because Brett 35?
35, yeah.
At 35, you're starting to think, hey, I want to be a dad. I don't want to be too old to go outside and throw a ball and all that stuff with your kids. It's biological clock ticks for everybody. Yeah. And I think 35 is like oh my God, it's blaring for everybody. And Olivia's like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, but you kind of did. You did. You all but said it. Like you inferred it very strongly. I honestly I'd never have thought that they were going to make it post honeymoon.
No, Brett said that in the beginning. He was when he was talking to Pastor Cal, he was like, we knew from the beginning that this wasn't it.
Yeah, they knew from week one. Like when they got into that little beef during the honeymoon about when she rated him the honeymoon.
Okay.
When she rated him a 7.5, and he refused to rate.
Upset about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't see where they was going with that one. Now we know that they're not together. So,
well, didn't they both go on the next episode?
They was not.
They weren't there.
Nope, they were not. They have definitely said goodbye. So
interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't watched a ton of Married at First Sight, but the only other couple that I know of that one person bowed out was Crazy Brandon and Taylor.
Zach and the other girl did.
Oh yeah, they did.
So
it's funny I call him Crazy Brandon.
Yeah, and Taylor,
because Taylor was a little crazy too.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's all I got for them. Do you have anything?
No,
else?
That's it, man. I wish them happiness
with whomever.
With whomever.
I hope that Olivia and Brett can get an annulment or something, so it doesn't have to be a divorce. Yeah. I think that Olivia might go crazy if it has to be a divorce because that would like strike her.
I'm interested to see the reunion show because the quarantine made it so much different and more interesting as far as like psychology. You know what I'm trying to say.
Try it again.
I don't want to.
Psychologically.
Yeah, that part.
Okay.
That part.
I agree. It has added a little salt to the situation. A little salt, babe.
So
I think that
that's funny.
The couples that were strong in their communication styles, i.e. Amani and Woody and Bennett and Amelia, are going to continue to thrive. I still don't know what I think about Karen and Miles, and I think the other two are done.
Yeah.
I need to go back and figure out what predictions we had in the beginning because I don't remember. I'll go back and look and we'll see how it goes once we get to the end.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, please like this video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell so that you can get get notified about all of our uploads. And share this video with friends, please. That's all I got.
All right, guys. Out. Peace.
Bye.